Okay, Blitzway, we need to talk, alright? You've turned up at the convention and you're a little bit drunk, okay? So we're going to call you a cab so you can go home, alright? Can somebody call Blitzway a cab, please? Yeah, cab. What? Yeah, they're drunk. Yeah, they're drunk. Yeah. What? How drunk are they? They're making action figures of Jack Black drunk. Yeah, that drunk. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Alright, sorry Blitzway, change of plan. We're actually going to have to call you an ambulance. If you're making Jack Black action figures kind of drunk, apparently you need your stomach pumped. So you just sit there, drink that water, because we're going to need to call you an ambulance, alright? Okay, so we have a bit of laugh at Blitzway expense, but let's actually look at what they've offered us this year at San Diego Comic-Con. They've offered us one figure from the 80s in the form of Ted Theodore Logan, two from the 90s in the form of Captain Morgan Adams for the 95 film Cutthroat Island. They've also offered us the Mask of Zorro Antonio Banderas from the 1998 film, and they've also offered us a Dewey Finn from the film School of Rock, which was made in 2003, I believe. It's quite a mixed bag, really, isn't it? I mean, it's very strange that they've gone with two films that maybe they just weren't on my radar, or maybe I don't get it, but obviously the Captain Morgan Adams figure and the Mask of Zorro figures, I've never seen either of those films. It doesn't mean that there's not people who have seen those films. I think the Mask of Zorro does have quite a good cult following, but the Captain Morgan Adams from the Cutthroat Island film, that film damn near buried pirate movies for nearly a decade. It wasn't until 2003, I think, when they brought out Pirates of the Caribbean, that the pirate theme came back a little bit. But actually, Cutthroat Island is synonymous with damn near ending the pirate movies that used to come out. They tried to do like this swashbuckling thing and the Errol Flynn and everything, but they decided to swap that character over with Gina Davis, and just people did not believe Gina Davis as this swashbuckling pirate hero, and that was from a lot of reviews that came out at the time. But in all honesty, I don't really see anything wrong with any of these figures. Surely there must be some sort of cult following for Morgan Adams if they've made it, or maybe they've just generated this one to build up some interest and see, because of Pirates of the Caribbean, there is an interest in pirates again, and maybe people have gone back, watched Cutthroat Island, and it's become a cult favourite, and I didn't know it had, but I really did not even notice that film on my radar. And the Mask of Zorro was one that came out. It seemed just like a generic Hollywood action film. It just seemed like they just went, oh, Mask of Zorro, remember when those films were great? Now you can watch this one. And so I never actually watched it, and I've heard from other people and I've seen online that there is a cult following for it, and that's something that I saw on a lot of Facebook posts. Is people put up loads of pictures of one of the things that people do on Facebook is that they will post a picture of something they love and say who would love a figure if they made this, who would buy this. And you get your three different kinds of people. You get your realists who are just like, that will never happen, stop talking rubbish. And then you get your people in the middle who are just like, oh, it's not for me, but I respect people's choices. You know what? It looks pretty good. And then you get the people on the left who are like, take my money, you take it. And then they show the Futurama gif of him throwing all his money around going, take my money now. The fact that I think they've done this is really good. It shows that they're thinking out of left field a little bit, and that they're coming out of this from a different angle. There are people out there who are interested in these figures, surely. The one that really caught my attention, the one that I really, really like, is the Ted Theodore Logan. Well, I say I really like the idea of it. I really do think a Bill and Ted figure, there is a space in the market for them. And I think two quality Bill and Teds would look fantastic in a lot of people's shelves. If they made like a diorama of the phone booth, or they managed to get a diorama of the phone booth, even better. But I don't know, the figure itself is not swayed me just yet. There's something about it. Maybe it's the neck to face ratio. The neck seems really thick. I'm not entirely sure what that is, and the hair as well. I think probably better off going with sculpted, just because I think that would probably be the best way to go. I like the expression on the face. He looks like a slightly dopey smile, sort of a vacant smile. and he's got the cool sort of 90s dude clothing on with the jumper tied around his waist and the waistcoat, and excellent! It looks really good. All the clothing looks good. Some people freaked out about the seamless arms, like, oh, past seamless arms, and I'm like, I kind of get that, you know. For me, it's not a big deal because I live in a country where it's not humid as hell and hot, so it's not too bad for me. I don't think I'm going to have as much trouble with pleather and rubber cracking. But for people who are in different countries where it gets, you know, the rubber and stuff gets damaged, yeah, I think it's a bit of a turn off for them. But yeah, Theodore Logan is one I'm interested in. I really hope that they improve that head sculpt though, because I don't know what it is. It's a neck to face ratio, something. Yeah, that's the one I'm interested in. And then of course you've got Dewey Finn from School of Rock, and this is the one I made fun of earlier. You know, you drunk Blitzway, go home, and it's mostly because, well, I don't know if it's there yet. I don't know if a 1/6 scale figure is there yet for this. You know, it came out in 2003, which was like 15 years old. So, you know, maybe. But I don't know if the kids who grew up watching that are old enough now who want those figures and want to have them in their collections. And, you know, it tends to be 30 and 40 somethings that get into 1/6 scale collecting and, you know, have the spare cash available to buy these things. So I don't know if those guys are the ones they're aiming for. I like the figure itself. The sculpt looks really good. It looks bang on with Jack Black, and the eyebrows give it that really good expression of him being like the rock dude who's like really cheeky, and he's got all the like the bow tie on, and it's really good clothing on that. The stitching looks good. The bow tie is adequate size. It doesn't look too big. It doesn't look too small. And I genuinely think that Gibson guitar, I think it is, that he has, looks fantastic as well. And people are actually more excited about that, I think, than they are about Dewey Finn himself. They're all just like, oh my god, look at that Gibson guitar. I'm going to make a Angus from AC/DC kit bashes and things like that. So I think people are getting really excited, but I don't know if it's just because of the guitar or if it's actually for the figure itself. I remember the film, I do. I watched it. And when I did watch it in 2003, I sat there and went, wow, this feels like it should have been made back in the 90s when the Sister Act films were out and stuff like that. It did feel like it was a bit dated. I think maybe it was just waiting for the right person. Like Jack Black, I think, was the right casting choice for it. And maybe there wasn't anybody around really that could pull that off right. Or maybe it was a hark back to those early 90s films. I just didn't, you know, it didn't resonate with me as much as I thought it would. I enjoyed watching it, but as soon as I stopped watching it, I never watched it again. But I'm pretty sure that because I watched it and enjoyed it, I think there is a larger following out there for that film. And I think, but where the kids were watching it, they would really enjoy it. Just like when I was young, I watched Bill and Ted and loved it. I think they'd watch School of Rock, the noughties, the millennials would watch School of Rock and go, this is fantastic, I love it. That's probably where that 2003 School of Rock hit home the most, is with those young millennials who were watching like TV shows like X Factor and things. But I don't know if they're there yet, you know. Some people have said they love the figure, but a lot of people have added sort of, they've found it very strange and they're like, what? And they've been a little bit like, wow. So, you know, in all honesty, we got a very mixed bag from Blitzway this year. Bearing in mind last year they gave us Hannibal Lecter, and they also gave us a statue of Sharon Stone. These are two movie icons that are amazing. So I genuinely sort of thought that last year they kind of smashed it, because where they were showing off movie icons from the 90s, I'm not entirely sure if they did it this time, with especially with the for me the Mask of Zorro and Captain Morgan Adams sort of threw me through a loop. But obviously the Mask of Zorro I know has a cult following, so I think that will sell well. I didn't know there was such a love for those movies. But yeah, it's great to see that Blitzway have stepped up to the plate and are actually going, oh yeah, you think you want something, but you don't really. Here's what you're going to get. And they go whap, and they throw down a figure or two that you did not expect. And I'm hoping that that continues, because soon I want them to throw down figures that go whap, that I will just be like, yes, definitely, I want that figure. Because there are films out there that I might have even forgot right now, but they were really great, you know. I think a lot of people have said if they produced some figures from the Dark City movie, that would be amazing. but it all depends on licensing, like we've said before. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you do me a favor, you get the fuck out of my cave. I've got more videos to make. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.